And this is why we haven't been here for very long. This is baby Rowan. Your baby Rowan. Yeah. Mwah. And he is now 6 weeks old. I hope you can see him. I don't actually check my angle. And he's now 6 weeks old. Aren't you? And he is such a good boy. He is. He's got a little bit of a cold at the minute, so he's a bit snuffly, bless him. And you might have heard him on a couple of the other videos that I filmed today. But he is Rowan, and he was born on the 3rd of May, weren't you? He's like, yeah. You just woke me up, thanks Mum. He was born on the 3rd of May. Oh wait, hang on, I should explain all of the stuff that happened before he was born. So, 8 days before he was born was Wednesday. We went into, I'd been going about my day, and I noticed that my hands had begun to swell. I felt a bit dizzy, a bit sick, and a bit kind of just off. I was getting a bit of a headache, and I was like, I don't think this is quite right. So I got myself into the doctors, and I said, I just want you just to check my urine, my protein in my urine, and to just check my blood pressure. Because obviously I've had these issues with Willow, not with Dylan, but with Willow, when my blood pressure would spike and then it would settle down, and it would spike and it would settle down again. So I was aware, and my mum had had preeclampsia, so I was aware that I was at slightly higher risk. So they sent us down to the doctors. My blood pressure was very high, there was protein in my urine, and I got sent to hospital. That was absolutely fine. We were just there. We were having this baby monitored. We didn't know he was a boy at the time, so he was referred to as baby. And after we kind of got him monitored, and he was kicking about, and everything seemed to be okay, and me and Rob were pretty convinced that they were gonna let us go home, and you know, as long as we got regularly checked, or my blood pressure got regularly checked by my midwife, then we'd be all right. So a consultant came around and went, "You're not going home." And I was like, "Sorry, what?" And she goes, "You're not going home until you have this baby." And I was like, "What? What's going on? Why can I not go home until I have this baby? I've got 2 more kids at home. Like, what are you on about, woman?" And yeah, I know. Turned out this little monkey was lying transverse across my stomach, so his head was kind of down here in this, in this hip, and his feet were up here. And because I was already 37, I just turned 37 plus 1, I think. So they were like, "We can't risk that you go into labour and the cord comes out first, because obviously that's a medical emergency. So because your baby's not head down yet, you need to stay in hospital." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." And they were like, "You might have to have a C-section." I was like, "Oh my goodness, I've had 2 natural babies. Like, why would I have to have a C-section?" Obviously, it's not the end of the world, but I was thinking, practically speaking, I would have to look after Willow and Dylan and the baby and myself while recovering from surgery. And Rob only had a limited time off, because of a work situation. So Rob only had a limited time off work. So I was like, shoot, so what are we going to do? So I ended up being in hospital until I had him, which was a week and a day later. So during that time, I was scanned every morning. This little boy decided to do gymnastics. He went breech twice. Then he turned himself around and went head down. It seemed to be at night that he would just do somersaults and just couldn't decide which position he wanted to be in. On the so I was in hospital from that Wednesday all the way through to the following Tuesday, and he had been head down then, and they said, because I was going to go for an ECV, which is where they try and manually turn your baby around. And he was already head down, and they said, "Well, if he's still head down tomorrow, we'll send you home and you can wait for labour just to come on naturally." I was like, bang tidy, that's what I want to do. I want to do that, I want to go home, wait for my labour. I don't want to be in hospital any longer than what I need to be. The next day, he, however, was breech again. The consultants that scanned me at my bedside as well also let it slip that he was a boy, so I was devastated because I really wanted to have that experience of pushing a baby out and not knowing what the gender of the baby was. So I was gutted, but not gutted that it was a boy, but I was gutted that they'd ruined the surprise for me. But so it wasn't really a surprise to us anymore that he was a boy. And then, so the Tuesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'd all been in hospital, baby swish-washing around. Tuesday, head down, baby. Well, that was after I went to go down to go get the EVC. Baby decided to turn around and put his head down. The next day they were like, right, we're just going to scan you before we send you home just to make sure this baby's still playing ball and still head down. He was breech again. That might have been the Monday, I can't really remember. No, sorry, he was breech on the Monday, head down on the Tuesday. No, that's wrong. Head down on the Monday, breech on the Tuesday. On the Wednesday, he was head down again, and they went, right, we're inducing you while he's head down. And I was 38 plus 2 then. I might have got my numbers muddled up. It was 6 weeks ago, and I'm sleep deprived. So yeah, so it was 38 plus 1 then, sorry. So they decided to induce me on the Wednesday. So exactly a week after I'd gone into hospital. So I had a ProPest, which I'd had with Dylan at midday, and that started to regulate my contractions. And I kept contracting the whole day through till about, through till 11. We literally just potted around the room. I was literally had laptops in the room. We've got the Wi-Fi, because I'd been in hospital for a long time. They'd give me the Wi-Fi password for the hospital. I was sitting there watching Netflix. We were watching like Jack Whitehall and like silly movies like Just Go With It and stuff like that while I was in labour, and like Russell Howard and things. While I was contracting, my mum came down to the hospital for a little bit, about 6 o'clock in the evening, and stayed with us until about 10 o'clock at night. And I kind of regularly was contracting. They were still concerned about blood pressure throughout the whole week before they'd induced me. My blood pressure kept going, having episodes where it would go up and then it would calm down again, and it'd go up and then calm down again. I noticed it was around about the time the doctors weren't deciding what they were doing with me, was when my blood pressure went up. But, you know, here or there. And then so I was contracting regularly, and we got to about midnight. Mum had gone home because my dad had Willow and Dylan so on his own, so she went home, and she knew that she was going to have them the next day as well. So then she went home, and then it got to about 12 o'clock, midnight, half 12. No, maybe later than that, maybe about 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd just had a bath, and I was really not coping with these contractions anymore, and I was thinking, I'm going to need some pain relief. I've got to be having some pain relief now. And I'd just been in the bath, and I remember Rob had been really good up until that point that I'd got in the bath, and he just kind of left me to it, and I was like, no, I'm not happy. No, I need to. The midwife had actually left me alone for a bit. Because she, as far as she was aware, I wasn't an established labour yet, so she thought I was less than 4 centimetres. Midwife came in, checked me, 7 centimetres dilated, why I was in so much pain, and from that point onwards she got another midwife to come and deliver me, because she was looking after me and another lady. So another midwife came and delivered Rowan, and yeah, pretty much, that was pretty much it. They gave me my gas in there when I got 7 centimetres, and I was not letting go of that. That was mine, no one was letting go of it, and I pretty much pushed him out at 1:42 in the morning, so it went really quick. Once I get to 6 or 7 centimetres dilated, I'm pretty fast after that. I'm pretty much having a baby by then. Like, be ready to catch a baby. my labour was a dream. It was everything that Willow, it sounds bad, but everything that Willow and Dylan's labour wasn't, because they were examined by baby doctors. There was concerns for for their health and whatever else. And actually, this labour was my best by far. I was left alone. I literally got up and about. I was in the bath. I was doing my own thing. I was doing whatever I felt like I needed to do, and it went really well. And as a result of that, I had no tears, no stitches, no episiotomies that I'd had with Willow. Like, Rowan wasn't rushed off to baby doctors to make sure he was okay, because he was absolutely fine. And yeah, so we did really well. We were straight home the next day. I think we were home by lunchtime the next day. I think I'd gone and voted, actually. I went and voted on May the 4th, because he was born on the 3rd. I went and voted on May the 4th, and we went and got lunch before we picked the kids up. And yeah, so this is Rowan. He was a nice healthy £7 10 ounces, and my little chunk, he was my smallest baby, but he was born at 38 plus 2, so he probably would have been the same size as Willow and Dylan. Willow was £8.10, Dylan was £8.15. So I'm gonna leave that here now. This is just like his before birth and his actual birth, and then I'll kind of go into a bit more about what's happened since then, because that's why we haven't vlogged for a while, isn't it, Bubba? Right, thanks guys, bye.